Good evening. India's journey towards becoming a global economic powerhouse has been fueled by stability and an attempt to bring in policy reforms over the past 10 years. But how optimistic is corporate India about the country's future? What are their requirements about the country's growth? Samir Modi, currently the executive director of Godfrey Phillips, joins us for a quick chat. Thank you, Mr. Modi, for speaking to NDTV. My first question to you, sir. Just yesterday, the World Bank has forecast a growth of 7% for the Indian economy for the current fiscal year, which is upping its earlier estimate of 6.6%. India can boost its growth further by harnessing global trade potential. That's what the report says. And it also says that the country needs to diversify its export basket. That's what the report says. What do you think would be the best approach for India right now?
I agree with this. I think that in India now the new flavor. India is being very well accepted world over to the extent of Apple starting the iPhone 15 in India. I think India is now becoming a global powerhouse, and thanks to our Prime Minister, this is accelerating on a very, very fast stage. So India is, I think, very poised to even go, I think, further than 7%. With the right focus, the right incentives, I think India will soon beat China.
Right.
I mean, for me, I have a cosmetic brand and we're already going global. And we are being compared to the Dior's and the Chanel's of the world. So India is poised right. I think now the time to strike, now the time to expand as rapidly as we can. And now rest will be history. We will make history.
Right. Also, sir, do you see a sustained pickup in the private investment? Because we keep talking about how private investment is not really picking up. We've been seeing that the government has been increasing its capex expenditure for the last many budgets. Why do you think that is happening? And do you think that there is some sluggishness when it comes to consumer demand?
I think that private investment, a lot of the private investment over invested. And a lot of the consumer or the retail-led companies have over discounted to get the top line without the bottom line. When I remember somebody approaching me saying that, I said, why haven't you sold to a big guy? So they said, we are making profits. And a private investor doesn't like somebody making profit. They say, if you make a negative, we will invest. So I think that is, if you see sluggishness is coming from there.
Okay.
Money is depleting and private investors are asking for performance, which is not coming, which is slower than promised. I think that's a big cause for consumers, not necessarily offtake, because they've already pumped in large amounts of stocks in the market to inflate the top line.
Okay. Right, sir. So we've been talking about ease of doing business. That's something that the government has made it the center focus of its governance. But what more do you think is required to be done to ease this further?
I think there's some leeway should be for quick resolutions. And some of our SEBI criteria may have to change. Because today, conflict resolutions are nowhere dealt. And one is, there's a SEBI and company law different from our legal systems. So somewhere there has to be amalgamation that allows smooth functioning in case there is a problem, in case there's a dispute, so that consumer and businesses don't suffer.
Okay.
Right now, that is a big problem. Right now, the linkage is a major problem of not being there. That will, I think, over time stop the growth or destroy growth.
Okay. So talking about your own company, the AGM of Godfrey Phillips is just 2 days away now. What steps are you taking for the shareholder votes? Because I want to ask you, how confident are you about securing the required votes, shareholder votes, to block your removal from the board, especially given that there is an evenly split family trust?
I think that one of the things I hope that the shareholders are sensible enough to look what is good for the company, the shareholders. I am not pro family. I'm not pro power. I'm not pro the board. I'm only pro shareholder value. That's my view. And that's why I ask the questions and become the bad guy. So I'm hoping that shareholders see merit in opposing my removal. I worked in the family business in '94. I've trained as a machine operator to working in the tobacco platform, to working in tobacco farms, to working in Philip Morris plants, to going to Philip Morris International, and finally becoming a brand manager on Marlboro, USA. And I have launched during COVID the faster growing brand at the quickest time in 55 days for GPI. And I'm known in the market, uh, thankfully, for innovation, creativity, and a brand creator. And that's what you need. You need somebody who's young, you need somebody who will question. My father taught me one thing. He says, my job as an MD is to put holes. The management job is to fill those holes.
Okay.
If I would not make those holes, then we will not be able to correct ourselves or fix the mistakes that we are making or we will make. So I have learned that with great, I would say, strictness. Or I remember my father wouldn't allow me out of the house till I read the balance sheet every day. So I'm hoping that, inshallah, the shareholders vote for the right.
Okay. So my last question to you, sir, the much anticipated festive season, has started with so many discounts around us. While there are some bright spots that we keep seeing World Bank reports and other estimates, but there are some sectors which are doing well, but there are also sectors that are also struggling for want of demand, something that we touched upon. What are your broad expectations from the festive season?
I think consumer brands are doing well. Whether it is the tobacco industry, whether the cosmetic industry, whether the FMCG industry, all are doing well. Because consumers after COVID have changed their buying criteria. They're okay to pay for distribution, they're okay to pay for delivery, they're okay to pay for packing charges, they're okay to pay without trying. So I think this festive season, hopefully, I'm hoping will be a bumper season. I'm hoping that if you have the right head on your shoulders and you make the right noises and you give consumers a reason to support you, to buy your brands, then I think that it'll be a good season for consumers, it'll be a good season for companies.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Modi, for speaking to NDTV. That was Samir Modi painting an optimistic picture of the festive season, but also saying that reforms have to be implemented on ground.